BBC News with Sue Montgomery. Ukrainian officials say Russian forces have launched an all-out assault on the Azovstal steelworks, which is the last Ukrainian holdout in the occupied city of Mariupol. There's been no independent confirmation of this. The commander of the Ukrainian troops inside, Denis Prokopenko, from the Azov regiment, said they were still trying to resist the Russian attack.
There
are heavy bloody battles. I am proud of my soldiers who make superhuman efforts to contain the pressure of the enemy. I am grateful to the whole world for the colossal support to the garrison of Mariupol. Our soldiers deserve it. The situation is extremely difficult, but no matter what, we will continue to carry out the order to hold the defense.
At least 200 Ukrainian civilians are thought to remain trapped inside. The BBC's Laura Bicker is in the Ukrainian city of Dnipro.
I have seen footage that reports to be smoke coming from the Azovstal steel plant, but that's not all that's been going on. We've had a number of explosions here in Dnipro. We've had a missile strike in the centre of the city. There have been a number of shells dropped in a number of Ukrainian cities, Dnipro, Zaporizhzhia, Kyiv, and I'm hearing, when it comes to the Azovstal plant, that Russia is planning to open humanitarian corridors in the next few days. So that will start from Thursday.
The United Nations says it's evacuated 300 residents out of the city of Mariupol and other nearby areas. The UN's humanitarian coordinator for Ukraine said it worked with the Red Cross in the second phase of evacuations to move civilians to Zaporizhzhia, which is under Ukrainian control. The US Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, has raised interest rates by 0.5 percentage point, the most aggressive such increase in more than 20 years. The move is intended to tackle rapidly rising prices, fueled by the impact of the war in Ukraine and new COVID lockdowns in China. Here's Michelle Fleury.
Like many countries around the world, America is grappling with soaring inflation. And in fact, consumer prices here are at levels not seen in 40 years. And so what we're seeing here is the Federal Reserve, America's central bank, trying to tackle inflation. And that is why, even though it started to raise rates last month, it is moving even more aggressively now with this 0.5 percentage point increase to its key benchmark rate to try and tame inflation, which is causing real pain for many Americans.
The authorities in Guinea say they will prosecute the former President Alpha Condé for murder and other crimes allegedly committed during his time in office. Mr Condé was toppled in a military coup last September. BBC News. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has appealed to international donors not to divert resources from other humanitarian activities around the world to Ukraine. He said they should donate more to tackle the Ukraine crisis without undermining efforts elsewhere. Mr Guterres made the remarks during a visit to Nigeria, where he's been to areas affected by the jihadist conflict. The Syrian Justice Ministry says hundreds of prisoners have been released over the last 2 days under an amnesty announced by President Bashar al-Assad. Some had been detained for more than a decade. The pro-opposition news outlet Enab Baladi said around 150 people had been released from the notorious Sadnaya prison near Damascus. The American actress Amber Heard has told a court in the United States that Johnny Depp repeatedly struck her during drug and alcohol-fueled rages that she said turned her ex-husband into an awful thing. Ms. Heard was taking the witness stand for the first time.
Slapped me across the face. And I laughed. I laughed because I didn't know what else to do. I thought, this must be a joke. This must be a joke, because I didn't know what was going on.
Mr Depp is suing Ms Heard over a story she wrote in which she described herself as a domestic abuse victim. In his testimony, Mr Depp denied any wrongdoing. In football, Real Madrid have reached the Champions League final after a thrilling match against Manchester City. The English side were leading 1-0 until the last minute of normal time, but Rodrigo scored twice in the 90th minute to put Real Madrid ahead and the match into extra time. A penalty by Benzema saw Real win 3-1 on the night and 6-5 in aggregate. BBC News.